Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to show you how to fit a like for like toilet. Now what we're up against with this one actually is it's really awkward. It's leaking like mad through the close coupled kit. The screws are knackered on the pan floor. The screws are knackered through the top cistern. So first of all we're going to get the water off. I'm going to disconnect, which is the flexi connector, onto the fill valve. Now either shut your water off for your house, or there's sometimes a little ball fix just like this, and I've just got it, and down below you can screw it. There'll be a little bit of water behind it, so either get a towel, a tub, or a wet vac if you've got one, which is a wet and dry hoover. But I'm going to get my black mambas on, which are the gloves. These gloves are great for working with. Stops your hands getting covered in feces. Now look, here we go. As you can see, the screws here, they're basically ripped. You can't get it off. Now I've been sent a product which is basically you squeeze it in the screws to rip the screw heads. This one's too far gone. This right here, screw grab, and it helps remove the screws. It gives you up to 800% torque. But I will say that it didn't work in the left hand side screw, but it definitely worked in the right. I tried to mess about with that for 10-15 minutes, but I ended up just having to smash the back of the cistern to get it out. These are always a nightmare. There's a couple of ways you can do it, but if it's screwed into wood, it's going to be a pain, and you probably will need to smash it. Because what I ended up doing is you can try and get a chisel behind it and prise it off. This is me still trying to get the screw out, by the way. So I did try with all avenue to get it to work, and it didn't. So now I'm going to take the bottom pan screws out. These are flatheads normally on older toilets. Snapped. I managed to get them out, not too bad, which was good. And this is me trying to prise it out with a chisel here. Sometimes you can get it, sometimes you can't, but it was knackered. So I just gave it a wee bash and cracked around where the screw is. The toilet is a like for like one, and these are called toilets to go. They're basically the cheapest toilets you get in the market. And you'll see why. So this is what we're dealing with. You see there's my wee crack bit, so I'll smash that off and I'll twist the screw out with grips. Now I'm going to get rid of that flexi and put a new one on, and I'm actually going to go a wee bit step further. I'm going to get rid of the ball of fix as well, because it just looks a bit tatty. Now I'm going to show you this monument tool here that you can buy for screw fixes, 30 quid. You stick it on that. It does work great for 15 and 22, but for micro-bore pipe work I'd be careful, because you can twist it and snap it. It just takes all the old olives and rings off that are solid on. There you go. This is where I've like, nah, I'll just go for the ball of fix. There's a stopcock there. I'm going to shut it. Normally I would renew the pan connectors on these, but it is into cast and stuff, and I don't want to disturb it, especially with that waste pipe connecting into it. So I'm just going to leave that and go back into that and basically pray it doesn't leak. You could always CT1 it as well if needed. This is me getting it off. See, because that pan connector's there, it makes it very difficult for me to get any movement or adjustability on my grips and shifter to get that fitting off or on. The flexi was an absolute pain to tighten on here. You can do these really quickly. A plumber will normally take about an hour-ish, and I would say for DIY I'd maybe allow 2.5 hours. You could probably do it. And there's me getting my monument tool on again to take the ball of fix nuts off. Giving me a wee kick there. See, on micro-bore pipe that would probably have snapped it, and that's that off. Just showing you there that it takes the nut and the olive off. This is where I was talking about, that it's very difficult. You always want your isolation facing towards you. And this is a different angle. I had to go and get my Nipex grips. See, this is where sometimes DIY guys, you're better off just getting a plumber, because you spend a lot of time effing about. The wee Nipex grips are absolutely incredible. Get it up as far as I can, then I can just give it a little jag with my shifter. Now, I would say majority of toilets are pretty much the same, connecting them up. The only thing you need to watch out for is your left hand side and right hand side fill valve. So you always want to match where your cold inlet is on your old toilet. There we go. We can shut that off and turn the water back on. Little flat screwdriver. And that just connects up to the fill valve of the old toilet. Pretty straightforward. I don't think there is me doing it in this video. But as you say, it is honestly so straightforward, you can't really go wrong. So now I've wrestled with that stopcock, the water's back on, we've got no leaks, and we can satisfy and make the toilet up. Now these come prefabbed on these toilets to go, which is handy for a DIYer, but you would want to give them a jag up with your grips just to make sure. And then, as it says, magic on the tin, plumbers are all magic. Now these are the bolts that go through the cistern and screw it together. I'll be honest, on this, I do not like these. They seem cheap crap. So basically, you'll have your screw, your metal washer, and your rubber washer that'll go through. And that'll tie into that little plastic nut on the bottom. And then that'll feed through your toilet. Just like that. Alright, tighten them up pretty tight. Get your flatty in there. Tighten them up so they're solid. You don't want them leaking. Some guys can put silicone on them if you want. Now this is the donut washer. As I said, this toilet is cheap. I'm going to silicone this because I just do not trust it. One single bit. So the toilet will sit on that and the silicone will help it make a seal. And this is me actually having great difficulty with this toilet because it's the prefab porcelain doesn't seem to want to line up properly. So I'm actually going to end up forcing this through, which I was worried about doing in case it cracked it, because you normally find with porcelain in cheap toilets, they're very easy to crack. And then you have two plastic nuts underneath that you can just screw on and then tighten them up, which I'll use. I tried to use my shifter and it was awkward, and then I used my little mini Nipex grips again, which were pretty handy. There's me losing that. I'll be honest, you can't actually go wrong with the little Nipex grips. As you can see, making this toilet up only actually takes 10 minutes, and I found the pan fixing kit on the outlet of that toilet. I never seen them and I assumed that there wasn't any. So I would have if I hadn't have been videoing this, I probably wouldn't have seen them and I would have flushed them away down the toilet and probably caused a blockage. So good job that I actually had a look while I was videoing. So this is me trying to get my shifter in. See, it's quite bulky sometimes. It'd be nice if there was like there is a wing nut tool actually. You can get it on Amazon. They're quite cheap. You get 3 of them in the tool bag. But it doesn't fit this wing nuts, which is a pain in the ass because they're cheap and crap made. As I keep actually saying, I actually won't look forward to ever fitting one of these again. The more expensive the toilet, the better quality fittings you get, as you can imagine. So now after what seems to be 5 years of tightening these nuts up, because they're rubbish, I don't know if you can tell already, but I actually hate this toilet. What we're going to do is we're going to set the toilet up. I'm going to give you a close-up look. That just looks crap, doesn't it? I'm going to set the toilet up and we're just going to slide it back into the pan connector. You can feel it. It's like a wee... I don't know how to explain that feeling actually. But you just know it's in. Turn the water on, you'll find out. So there you go, she's in. You just need to screw it back. We're going to need to get some wood. And this must be the cheapest toilet seat in mankind. And that's you pretty much done. Screw through your pan, get your water on, and you're all good to go.